Welcome to Ready to Exhale, where we center Black women, their lived experiences, expertise, and rich stories. In each episode, we will gain a deeper understanding of what it takes to hold space for our own well-being. This is a brave space where you will be inspired to express your joy and live in the fullness of who you are. It's also a place where we are no longer waiting to exhale. So now, get ready to exhale and enjoy the show. All right, welcome. I think Ajax is coming. Welcome to our discussion that we're going to have this afternoon. Have to bear with us, it's warm in here. So we have water, drinks. Feel free to grab what you need. Don't feel like you're interrupting us if you need to get up and take care of yourself, right? If you need to get some water, if you need to go to the bathroom, just do it. Just go do the things that you need to do to take care of yourself. But thank you for being here. I'm Katara, and I am the founder and CEO of Kateka Corp. I think are we okay, Bria? Okay. Of Exhale app, which is an emotional well-being app for Black women. We are unapologetically prioritizing us in the wellness space. I founded Exhale in the spring of 2020 is when I got the idea for Exhale, because I was reaching for well-being apps to manage my own stress and anxiety, everything that was happening. COVID was impacting the Black community disproportionately. The killing of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and how that was playing out on our news feeds and news cycle. It was traumatic. Y'all remember how stressful that time was, and not just stressful, but traumatizing. Hearing non-people of color talk about those incidences was traumatizing as well. And so I was reaching for well-being apps to manage my own stress, mainstream well-being apps, and was super disappointed. Not surprised, but I'm disappointed when they were not showing up for the Black community at that time. And I was super frustrated and actually pretty angry. And so I remember going upstairs and talking to my husband, telling him, I was like, I think I have an idea to start something. He was like, during a global pandemic, you want to start something? I was like, yeah, I feel like there's a need. He was like, this is a great idea. So we got to work and were able to launch the app in August of 2020. We've been in market since then. We have 17,000 downloads. We're in 55 countries. So it's been reaching beyond the U.S., which has been a surprise to us that there are Black women in Sweden who are using the app, which has been a beautiful thing. So we have shared experiences as Black women, and it's reaching beyond our borders. We just launched a State of Self-Care for Black Women report. Exhale just did a report. We surveyed 1,000 women, and we have all kinds of data results around that survey. It's the first survey of its kind. And so what we're doing is partnering with other folks that are doing amazing work centering Black people, centering Black women, and having conversations around the results of the survey. And so we're going to do that today. And I'm joined by these amazing panelists, and we're going to let them introduce themselves. But I just wanted to say thank you to Ajax for opening up this space. Give her a round of applause.
You're welcome.
For opening up this space and allowing us, oh, are you okay? Well, that'll cool you off.
I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry.
But she opened up this space. Rhonda, my friend Rhonda here, my sister, introduced us. I'm from Indiana, so I wanted to come to Essence Fest and bring Exhale to this weekend. And Rhonda introduced me to Ajax, and we met and just have had the most lovely conversations. We started meeting in January of this year, and you just were so open just to open up your space, open to even have a conversation about a partnership and co-hosting and doing something together. Right away, I was like, this is good people. This is good people. And so we were able to pull this off. So thank you for opening up this space and all the work that you put in to make this happen, and that we could kind of drop in and do this pop-up. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. You're welcome.
So we're going to have just a quick conversation. It's hot in here, so I don't want to keep y'all too long. But I just want to take a few minutes and let you all, our amazing panelists, introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about you, what you do. Just share.
And so I'll jump in. I'm Rhonda Broussard. I live here in New Orleans. I'm from Louisiana. And it is ironic that I'm sitting in this conversation about Black women's wellness. And my mom is sitting here. She laughs about this all the time. Like I was the I'll rest when I'm dead person, right? Like working myself to the end. My kids would find me overnight, like in the bed, fully dressed, heels still on, the computer like this in my lap when they were little. And I had in 2019, right before the pandemic, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was like, my body is telling me I have to slow down and I have to take care of myself in a different way. I used to do something I call rushing to relax, where I would rush and go get acupuncture like this and then go back to my meetings. Or like rush to a yoga class and think that that was enough to take care of myself. And then with my organization, I'm the founder and CEO of Beloved Community, we started a practice of a collective rest for our entire team. So we take the month of February off. Everyone, no matter how long you've been with us, gets that month as a sabbatical. And we really prepare ourselves for what does it mean to rest? What does it feel like in our bodies when our body gets heavy and we are rested and resting, and then can re-enter our full lives from that position of rest. And so, I think that's a thing that brings me into this conversation today.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Shelina Davis here. My sister is in the room.
Hey, sister. Hi, sister.
So I'm a sister to her and to my twin sister, a daughter, a wife, a friend to so many. In my day job, I'm the CEO of the Louisiana Public Health Institute. And it's, even thinking about what Rhonda just shared in terms of my journey here, you would think in public health we would just automatically assume rest. However, we know that that's just not assumed. In our culture, we assume work and you grind, and that is our culture. And I think I'm constantly unlearning how to do that, especially as I sit as a CEO now. I've been in this role for 4 years, and I've even been rethinking how I show up as a CEO, as a Black woman, at an organization that, where my predecessor was a white male, and that culture was so strong, and thinking about how to kind of reverse that. So really excited to be diving into this conversation and sharing more.
Thank you. You guys are also a sponsor of this
and
event.
we're a sponsor.
I forgot to mention that. Let's give it up for
Thank you.
Louisiana Public Health Institute. Thank you for sponsoring this event.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Magnolia Yoga Studio, to Black Women Excel. My name is Ajax, which is short for Adrian Jackson. Some people think it's two different people. They kind of are. But I'm really grateful to have you here. Love Essence Fest. Today is actually my 10th year anniversary of living and breathing and serving this great city of New Orleans. So it's a really beautiful, powerful day for me today. So thank you for sharing it with me. Really honored to be up here with these three incredible women. Magnolia Yoga is the first Black-owned yoga studio in Louisiana, and will be 7 years this September. And one of my main messages right now is that, having the first Black-owned yoga studio in Louisiana doesn't mean anything unless we use it. And so yoga is a restorative practice. You do get rest, you get benefits just like rest from doing things like yoga and meditation, as well as community care. that's partly how this magic works, is that we really have cultured and created and nurtured a community. Some of them you see right behind you in that poster. A lot of those people have been, key people to help, including Michelle Obama. You see Michelle Obama over there? Key people to creating the foundation that you all are welcomed into today. And so I'm grateful to be a part of the conversation, to just really forward our wellness forward. We can play a direct role in our health and wellness. That's what yoga and meditation has done for me. My number one goal was to prevent diabetes. And my last medical checkup, the doctors clap for me, literally, every year because of the optimal health that I've been able to achieve. And the last doctor was like, oh, you are galaxies away from diabetes.
Wow.
And that's not by accident, That's been very intentional. It runs on both sides of my family. I'm a black woman in the South, and so I really have had to be intentional about making sure that I don't get it, because I do love to eat. And
she's a great cook, like if you ever have a chance.
Aw, thank you. So anyhow, happy to be here, happy to have you all here. Know that our doors are open 7 days a week for a reason, and so that reason is you.
Awesome. Thank you. Before we dive into the conversation, I just want to take a few minutes to exhale, since that's what we do here. That's what Magnolia is all about, too. So if you feel safe and comfortable, you can close your eyes, or you can just find something to kind of set your gaze upon. And then we're just going to take an inhale on the count of 4, and then we're going to hold at the top and exhale for a count of 8. All right? Ready? Here we go. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Look at somebody next to you and just say, I'm so glad you're here.
So glad you're here.
So glad you're here. We're going to dive into the conversation. How you feeling?
Good.
Feeling it hot, we know.
It is.
There's no escaping the heat. We're in New Orleans. It's normal.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're in your normal habitat.
It's true, because it could be hotter.
I love it. We be hot. We be hot in New Orleans. All right. Well, I just want to dive into the conversation. We'll just popcorn. Don't feel like you have to go in a certain order. Yeah, we're just going to chat a little bit. So I mentioned the State of Self-Care for Black Women report that Exhale did. And according to that survey, 60% of Black women stated that it's difficult to find access to formal mental health resources, with 66% stating this is due to racism and discrimination. 55% say cultural stigmas, and 54% say because of high cost. Do you have a story or a personal example of how these statistics have played a role in your life and your journey with mental health?
I mean, I'll definitely tell the stories about trying to find mental health providers in different places where I lived, right? So I'm from Louisiana. I spent 24 cold winters away and had a really hard time in some states finding any Black mental health care providers, let alone Black women healthcare providers, let alone queer Black women healthcare providers. And from a mental health perspective, when I moved home, so we came back in 2016, it's one of the first things that I started asking community about. And I was like, well, who do you have? And someone pointed me to a directory. And so I went into the directory and still couldn't find a queer Black woman therapist. Right. Yeah, and so I found a therapist that I worked well with, but it's still something that's missing. Like there's cultural context that makes it easier for me to show up as my full self. And I was hopeful when COVID happened, I started thinking about what are the changes we're making in COVID that could make it easier, right? So like I'm a dancer. So during COVID, I was able to dance online with some of my favorite instructors from all over the world. And I was like, well, could I also do therapy online with people that I already know and have already worked with? But licensing, they're like, yep, even if it's online, you still need to be in the state where I'm licensed. So that's been some of the challenges I've had.
And for me, and I've lived I was in DC for about 7 years and then came back home to Louisiana in 2019. And well, DC, I think it might not be majority black anymore. New Orleans is still majority black. However, like for me, especially as a public health social worker, you would assume that I have a lot of people in my network. And I do. However, I was trying to use someone who's not in my network, just because that is what made me feel safer. And so in DC, I was pointed towards a directory and found someone there, and also have someone here in New Orleans that I use as well, who is a black woman, actually a queer black woman who I work with.
Well, I will pass the information.
Yeah, however, the barrier, though, I'm a person of privilege and can afford to pay out of pocket. Their prices are pretty unattainable for most people. And even I ration that. And I feel like the high cost to me is something that I think we should talk about. And I also recognize as a black woman, therapists, they have the same barriers that I have in terms of what they need and what actually goes into getting on an insurance panel and that kind of thing, and the reimbursement that requires. So, it's like a catch-22 in a way. So I think that we need to kind of help work, and I'm sure there's, networks out there helping support black women therapists. However, that is a huge barrier, is the cost.
Absolutely.
Wow, that was a great point. Well, so, going back to kind of why we're open 365, 7 days, we're even open on Mardi Gras Day. And that is because, yoga is therapeutic. It is an alternative to depression and to pain and pills. And some people have to continue to see a psychologist or psychiatrist and do yoga. Some people can just do yoga and receive their mental help through that practice. I'm one of those people. The answers lie within. We've all heard that before. And our body is constantly talking to us daily. However, because we are so busy and distracted and have a lot of responsibilities, they're valid responsibilities, a lot of times we're not listening to the messages until, unfortunately, breast cancer shows up. Right? The body is the final say. The body is the ruler. A lot of times we think it's the mind, but it's not. Why? Because the mind lives inside the body, not the other way around. Right. And so the body has the final say. And it is constantly talking to us. It's saying a lot to us. And so in yoga and meditation, that's where someone can, on their own, slowing down, breathing, staying still, trying to focus, that's where they start to peel away the stress, and they start getting their own answers to their own questions and how they're going to deal with the husband, the neighbor, the boss, etc. And that's where the therapeutic benefits start happening on their own. And on your own, you start figuring out what to do for yourself next. We don't give you the answers. We give you the space, and we give you the beautiful discipline art form called yoga and meditation. And those tools help you figure out the answers. So that's how I'm trying to resolve the issue of the lack. Being Black-owned, being basically completely Black operated as well, so you're reflected here. Even men, we have two wonderful Southern Black men, full of muscles, full of compassion, full of yoga and meditation skills to give people. So they're reflected even with the male gender, and so that's how we're trying to do it, yeah. And why we're open 7 days a week, because some people can't get here during the week. Right. So the weekend is the only time they can get that little bit of mental health. So be it. Then we'll be open.
Yeah.
so that it is available to them. And just to cap it off, diversity, inclusivity, and affordability in yoga is our business model. Because we recognize that there are these barriers. Like, first you gotta wanna do it, then you gotta find the place, then you gotta afford the place. And so the level of barriers are several. I recognize that. And so I promised myself, if I was blessed enough to have a studio, that I would do my best to lower those barriers so other women like me can get in here.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. I'm curious, Ajax, how you got to, you mentioned physical health, mental health. Is that what brought you to meditation and yoga? How did you find it?
Yeah, I talked about it yesterday. The universe, in my understanding, loves spontaneity. I have a background in cultural anthropology. I was a Peace Corps vet, and so I was doing work like that in Brazil. I had a boyfriend at the time before I took off to Brazil, and I missed my family and my friends, and so I sporadically jumped on a plane to surprise everybody one New Year's Eve. And that New Year's Day, we woke up, and my boyfriend at the time said, "Let's go do yoga." And I said, okay. And that's all you need, is an open mind. I was open to the invitation, but 24 hours before, I was halfway on the other side of the world, literally. But because I was open to that invitation, I got a taste of my future that I had no idea about. And so what happened was, I started learning the style of yoga that I teach and mainly subscribe to can tell you exactly what's happening in the body as it's happening. This is working your endocrine system, this is working your nervous system, etc. So because I have diabetes on both sides of my family, and I started learning that this could help prevent diabetes, I was like, ding, 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 ding. Oh, okay, so let me do this thing. And so it was a physical need. Everybody kind of does yoga for different reasons. Some it's emotional, some is mental, some is physical, some is, I'm lonely, I'm bored, I'm getting through a divorce or a death. Everyone kind of comes in for different reasons. Mine was a physical, again, trying to prevent diabetes. I started at 28, and at 47, like I said, I have now optimal health. And so that's what got me in. Love, spontaneity, and trying to prevent diabetes.
How love will take you places. Love will take you places. I'm glad it brought you to yoga, because love didn't take me. Took me somewhere else. Whoo, child. That's another episode. As Black women, we have everyday stressors, and those stressors are compounded by systemic racism. This stress weathers our mental and emotional health. It's imperative to move this stress out of our bodies so we can live healthier and happier lives. Exhale app is a resource to partner with you in your well-being journey. To download, go to the App Store and Google Play. Now, let's get back to our episode. Also, in this survey, 76% of Black women shared that they agree that there is a prevalence of people who believe Black women are stronger than most people and should be able to manage more stress than others. What are your thoughts on this collective belief and the stigmatization within the Black community in regards to caring for our mental health? So it's kind of a twofold question.
I'm happy to start. I think it's harmful. Yes. And it's killing us, that collective belief. And I think, I can speak for myself. I have, taken on that collective myth, I guess, if you will, throughout my life. And I think from generational, we know how our mom is. Like, she does not stop. And like the generations before us, mothers don't stop. And so that is something that we try to encourage our mother to do. To rest, and I try to unlearn for myself. And even the people closest to me, like my husband, he's like, "Shelina, I can cook for you. Like, just tell me." He's like, "You don't like
get the pans out.
I see this week is busy. Let me do it." So he just starts doing it.
I love that for you.
But I've gotten better about also asking for support and help from, not just my husband, but also friends and loved ones as well. Yeah. But I think it is a belief that is very harmful to our health.
Absolutely. And non-judgmental, because you remember I had a breakdown?
Yeah.
I had a total breakdown. I was having a really tough week, and we were trying to organize something for a board that we both sit on, that Shelina's the chair of, and I'm new to the board world, and I'm trying to do everything well and right, and like things weren't happening well and right with this particular thing. It really wasn't a huge thing. It's just that it was an accumulation, and I couldn't hold back, and I just broke down in tears just out of frustration, and I was like, for a second, I was starting to feel embarrassed. And then I was just like, you know what? No, I'm not going to feel embarrassed. I'm talking to another black woman who's a leader. I am sure she understands it. And maybe she's had to like hold back herself because we're not always allowed. But I think she will be okay with the fact that I cannot do that right now. So thank you for not judging me for that moment.
I love that.
And I appreciated you for like just, you know, doing that.
Beautiful.
And the reason why you were
Beautiful.
And the reason why you were feeling, why you thought you should feel embarrassed, because we've been taught to believe that tears are weakness. They come from a very strong place.
Yes.
Because to be able to even let it flow.
Yes.
Oh, this person can't see me like this. Oh, I can't. I'm the this, I'm the that. And I'm speaking from personal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they can't see. I gotta do this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's too much. It's not fair. It's not fair to
Yeah, and it's not the whole idea of this strong black woman trope. It's like we can't be vulnerable. Historically, you can't be vulnerable, because if so, like you said, Shelina, we could put ourselves in harm's way, right? Like if I can't show up to every space and place with a level of vulnerability. Like I have to kind of like square my shoulders to protect myself, right? But that's what's so beautiful about what we're doing today. That's what's so beautiful about Magnolia. What Exhale is doing is we're creating space for black women to be able to be vulnerable, really brave spaces to kind of like I can be me here. Like I don't have to like be these ideas or these expectations of what people think I should be. And in that moment, that's what y'all had, which is really beautiful, really beautiful. Rhonda, what about you?
So at first I was thinking about the physical weight and the physical burdens and the physical expectation of strength, because it's not just our mental well-being that comes into question, but the belief that we can actually withstand more pain, more physical pain. And thinking about when I was in labor with my daughter, who's now 18, and I thought, I want this to be all natural. Y'all, it hurt. I was like, well, it hurt. Give me the drugs.
Yes.
And the epidural didn't work. And so like I kept pushing the button and it wasn't working. And I had all of these midwives who were serving and supporting me, and they would come in, they're like, it's fine. It's working, it's fine. And it took me hours to get them to call the anesthesiologist back. And these were black women. Right? And like, they're like, and at some point I heard one of them say, we don't even have this in my country. And I'm like, but ma'am, we don't have to keep doing this.
Right.
And we don't have to keep doing it to each other, right? Like, even if I carried the burden before, part of my responsibility is to lighten the load for the women who are coming after me.
Absolutely.
And not feel like I have to subject you to the same pain that I experienced.
Right.
And so, like, how do we start to break some of those cycles? Because I think it shows up in our physical well-being, and then it shows up in this mental well-being, right? I had to withstand this particular type of trauma or this particular type of stress and pressure in my relationship or in my work life. And so toughen up.
Yeah.
Right? I expect you to be able to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
And so calling ourselves in to say, how are we holding on to some of those expectations? And then if we can get free from it, how do we then keep working to unpack that for ourselves and then pass that gift on to other black women in our lives?
Absolutely. Yeah, when you were talking about that, I had an image of my grandmother who raised me. I grew up in a house with my mom and grandmother, multi-generational household, and my sister. And she would be like, we didn't have a dryer growing up. Like, we had a washer, but we didn't have a dryer. So she would hang clothes on the line. In Indiana, honey. Indiana.
In the cold?
In Indiana. We had lines in the kitchen in the wintertime.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah,
I'm like,
in
it's
the
cold out there.
wintertime, we had clotheslines in the kitchen with a curtain, and she would close the curtain and turn on the oven. Whoa. Or the burners. She made her own
genius.
little dryer. Mm-hmm. She was innovative. Mm-hmm. But when you were talking about that, it reminded me of her and how she would hang the clothes on the line, get the meals started. Like, she baked homemade. It was lovely. I didn't get that from her. I wish I would have, but I didn't. But she would sit in her chair and her recliner, and she'd prop her feet up and she would close her eyes. And my sister and I always thought she was taking a nap. So we'd start cutting up, we'd start doing stuff we weren't supposed to. And she would be like, I hear you. And we were like, we thought you were taking a nap. And she said, I'm just resting my eyes. Right, I'm sure you heard your elders say that, and that has been coming up ever since I started this journey of Exhale and creating Exhale. Is how are we really kind of taking a break, taking a respite, and resting our eyes, because it really does impact our bodies, our mental health, our emotional health, giving ourselves permission to kick our feet up. We don't have to go sleep. But you can rest your eyes, and you can do that, and you can take little snippets of that throughout your day, right? And prioritizing yourself, making yourself, like saying, I'm going to prioritize myself right now, and I'm just going to rest my eyes.
So I'm going to tell you all this story. We have, I mentioned before at Beloved, we do this month-long sabbatical collective rest practice. And when we get ready for it, we have this holistic wellness coach. So we've been working with Jackie O, who's based in Memphis, for a few years. And she'll do, guided meditation. She'll lead us in some yoga practices. She'll lead us in specific exercises to identify barriers to rest. And like all the psychological stories we're telling ourselves about why we don't deserve to rest or why we can't rest right now. But one of the things she did with us one year was a practice of micro rest. Mm-hmm. Because, people, they're like, okay, well, this long extended rest only happens once, but every day, just like you have microaggressions every day, you can have micro rests.
Beautiful.
And so she had us, literally, right? So she had us practice this. And so it was for the first 5 minutes. She said, we're just going to do these 5-minute rest cycles. In the first 5 minutes, she was like, close your eyes. Don't touch the keyboard. Don't listen to the voicemail. Don't look at the text. Don't scroll through Instagram. Don't answer anything. Just sit. Mm-hmm. Sit and breathe for 5 minutes. I'll set the timer. And it felt like the longest 5 minutes ever.
Forever.
Like, you don't think 5 minutes is anything. Forever. And then she came back and said, okay, for the next 5 minutes, go and take care of something you need to take care of in the house. Maybe check in on your family, make yourself a sandwich, go to the bathroom, step outside, smoke, whatever it is you need to do. And those 5 minutes also felt super long. In that moment, I realized how in my own house, in my own work, where I am my own boss, I would be running to the bathroom in between meetings.
Yes.
Run to the meeting and run back. What do I look like in my own house? Nobody's there, right? There's nobody cracking this whip on me, but I didn't even think I could take the time to walk. And, take some deep breaths in the process. 5 minutes to do it was amazing. And so, and then in the last 5, and then we did a third round. In the third round, we did it with 5 minutes to do something that brought you pleasure. Something that brought you joy. And so I'm like, I'll put on a song and dance. 5-minute dance break. Somebody else went and repotted a plant, and somebody looked at their favorite TV show or something, like something that you needed for yourself. But thinking about what 5 minutes of rest can actually do in the day has really changed how I show up for myself when nobody else is watching. And I'm working alone.
No, that's beautiful. I love that you said that, because we put in the app with the new version, because we listen to our users, and most of them only spend tops 15 minutes in the app. And so we did 5-minute option, 10-minute option, 15-minute options. And I love that it's micro rest. I didn't have language for that. I have language for microaggressions.
Right? We have those.
We got language for that, but it's micro care, micro rest, right? So thinking about it, and it feels very intentional, right? So I think that that's probably why the 5 minutes felt long. I was talking to somebody earlier about that a meditation, when you first start meditating, 5 minutes feels like a really, really long time, because we're not used to being and sitting and being still with ourselves. So it feels really awkward. And you look at the time and it's like, oh, it's only 2 minutes? Shit. I mean, also, I only warned 2 people that I'm a cusser. I meant to warn the whole thing, but it's just that microaggression language. Sometimes you gotta drop the F-bomb to release the stress. But I'm glad that thank you for sharing that, because that gives me some language to kind of speak to that. Another question for the panel: what are your personal self-care practices? Like, what do you do even within your every day, like when you're at work, when you're at home? Like, what are some things that you do to prioritize yourself and to really care for yourself?
My mom is sitting here, and so she can be like, you lie, you do not do that. I'm in the house with you every day.
Don't be lying.
Look,
Keeping you accountable.
Katara, right. I'm like, I have great stories about rest and self-care. No, I think the first thing that I do for myself, I really, not in this heat, but when third summer is over, I'll go back to early morning walks. So I do sunrise wake-ups and go for a walk in the neighborhood. And sometimes with a friend, sometimes just with my music and my own thoughts. But it really helps ground me every day. And I do it specifically on weekdays. So like, I walk before I go to work. I walk before I eat anything. I walk before I talk with anybody else. Like, this is my time for myself. And so that's been, and it's also something that I can do on my own. And I travel a lot for work, and I can do it wherever I am, right? So I can wake up anywhere and go and do my walk. And so that's the first thing that I do that grounds me. And then I do dance a lot. Like, I have this parallel life in dance, and so getting to dance classes just makes me happy, right? Like, when I'm dancing, there's no bills, there's no laundry, there's no emails. Like, it's just me and the music and the movement, and being present in my body. And so those 2 things are probably the 2 active things that I do for self-care most routinely. And then I also just love to nap. I love to nap, again, not when it's third summer, but I like to nap outside. And so I have some outdoor sofas, and we'll go lay down and just breathe the fresh air and enjoy it.
I love that. Love that.
My self-care. So, not perpetuating the strong woman trope. However, I do like lifting heavy things.
Yes. Because if you need to, you can beat some ass.
Yes. So one of my self-care things that I actually just started, and I have some of my CrossFit women here with me. I just started back up again after COVID, being comfortable being in a space. And I love doing CrossFit. That is definitely one of my things, because I love lifting heavy physically. I love to get to do meditation and yoga at home. And when I can get here, I love coming here and doing hot yoga. And also for me, like, cooking is very meditative for me. Like, in the morning, like, my husband always makes fun of me because he's like, you're always making some big meal, because I love preparing, like, my eggs or like avocado, or even for lunch, if I'm at home, I will prepare my own dressing and salad and cut things. So that is very meditative for me, like having that.
I wish that was meditative for me. I do. I want to be that person, but I'm not. Yeah. I love that for you. That's amazing.
And our dog is our joy too, and I think dogs can teach us so much, and do teach us so much about rest, letting things go. And rest and letting things go. So I learned a lot from our dog too.
Yeah, I love that.
So, I'm it's taken about 20 years, but I have done a decent job of really folding in a lot of rest and a lot of self-care practice throughout my entire day, all day. And that really makes a big difference. I think I also practice what I sell, because I am an entrepreneur, I'm a businesswoman, and I am fortunate in that way, and I am constantly advocating entrepreneurs to practice yoga or wellness, walking, working out, dancing, because, stress, you got to get the stress out, We're vessels, and we can only contain so much. And so cleaning the vessel, reorganizing the vessel is really important. One of the things that I do to kind of organize my mental vessel is this, I've been doing a lot this last few weeks, is at the end of the day, really kind of looking back at my day and evaluating my day and looking back at what I did well and kind of how I got it right that day, and what I did not do well and why I did not get it right. And not to be critical, but to be conscious, because I do care. But I also know that I'm still growing, And so instead of like being frustrated and stressed in the moment, in the day, when I still got a lot of other things to do, I'll save that moment for the end of the day to be a little more pragmatic, be a little more practical, and be and patient with myself and whoever it is I'm, might be having a stressful moment with. So that's something that I do that really helps me like reframe. So I'm not stressed. I'm more kind of open to what happened. And then I also I kind of have this pattern where I work really consistently for about 6 months, and then I take 30 days off. And I try to go somewhere romantic and exotic, usually all by myself. And that brings me a lot of joy. So does music. I'm extra joyful today because, I went to bed at 3 a.m, because Wycliffe and Lauryn Hill went on at 2, but it gave me so much love and inspiration that it was worth it. I moved to New Orleans for the music. Music is right there after yoga. They're very close. And so I get a lot of energy, and it makes me feel good. And the things that make us feel good count. And so some of them can be free, like music can be free sometimes. And so those are some of my favorite ways.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. Thank you. If you had to drop one tidbit of wisdom, what would that wisdom be to our listeners that are listening to the podcast, to this group of lovely, lovely, beautiful people here? What wisdom would you leave us with?
No, the thing I would say is don't do it by yourself, right? Even this conversation is part of our accountability for how we're resting. And there's, in so many other spaces, we either feel like, or it is actually true, that we have to carry it on our own. And when we're talking about wellness journey, and both our mental well-being and our physical well-being, inviting people in to that care with you and into that accountability, is, I think, the most important. And my mom mentioned this earlier, right? That tears aren't vulnerability. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I didn't tell my big extended network for a long time. And my first big surgery was during Mardi Gras season, and I had friends come over to the house to say goodbye to the tatas and thank them for their service. And I struggled to do this, and I'm proud of myself for doing it, and ask them for blessings, ask them for their care and support while I was in this journey. And it matters, right? So make space to bring other people into your care journey with you.
So good. Beautiful.
And I think what popped in my mind is it's never too late to start. Restart, reset, pause, and then start again. For me, I know even over the last few years with COVID and everything that has been going on, as Katara mentioned earlier, for me, even in my fitness journey, I've been in fits and starts and not how I used to be. And I was getting down on myself for that. And I'm no, working with my therapist and others is it's okay. I'm in a moment of pause. When I restart and reset, it's okay. So I would just say it's never too late to start and start again.
Yeah, similar. I really, really appreciate what both Rhonda and Shelina shared. I agree with that 100%. And I think in addition to not giving up on yourself, starting over, micro workouts, mini sessions, all of that stuff counts. And then also community, like I said, it's hard to change. It's hard to heal. And so when we do it in community, it is easier. It's not easy, but it's easier. And so I really stand by those two contributions, those two comments. In addition, I would say that you really do have your health and your wellness in your hands. It's in your hands. Recently they've been able to study that they used to think that the DNA that you were born with is the DNA that you will die with. That is not true. You can change your DNA. That's what I've been able to do. If I have children, I'm not passing on the genetics of diabetes because I've avoided it. And so you have your health and wellness. You have the power to turn things around. You have the power to manage any issues, to eradicate those issues. I mean, there really is a lot that you can do and play in your wellness and your health. And so I just want to empower you. That's kind of the main messaging that people get from my classes is the empowerment. I want to empower you, educate you, support you to know that you can play a major role, not the doctor. The doctor is an assistant to your wellness, right? It's like that annual checkup is really the 364 days prior is really where all your wellness is taking place. And that 365th day is where you get to check, how am I doing? So don't give up. You eat a bowl of spinach tonight, you will receive the benefits in the morning. Like, benefits happen faster than we think, and they do accumulate. And so you don't have to do it alone. Places like Magnolia Yoga Studio, this is why we exist, so that we do not have to do this alone. And that you really do have the power to write your destiny. And on this 10th year anniversary, let me tell you, I got here with very little. You've heard these stories before. It is true. That is part of my story. I came with renting one little room out of a house, one bike, and one little yoga job around the corner. And from that, I've been able to build all of this wellness for myself and then for others. So really, you can create a lot of wellness for yourself, and I just want to encourage you to do so. And let's do it together, because it is easier when we do it together.
So beautiful. I'm hearing, give yourself permission, right? Invite other people in, right? People that can help uplift you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I heard, give yourself grace. A shit ton of grace, a shit ton of grace, a shit ton of grace. You didn't say shit, by the way. Shelina didn't say shit. I did. Just for the record, this is going on socials, I said that. But give yourself grace. And we don't heal in isolation. The Black community heals in community. That is what we do, and can be really good at it if we can lean into community and not choose to be isolated. So thank you, ladies, for being here and having this conversation, being on Ready to Exhale, the podcast. If you haven't downloaded it, you should go check out Ready to Exhale, the podcast. Check out Exhale app, download it. It's free to download. Explore. We have some iPads in the back. You can check it out. Thank you for taking your time and just being here in this space with me. I appreciate you.
And thank you. I just want to acknowledge you for, taking that flight, taking that step to really manifest this vision. You are a pioneer in this world, in this field of Black wellness, and I salute you.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Exhale is a social movement prioritizing the overall well-being of Black women. You can join our movement by subscribing to this podcast and downloading Exhale app, and by continuing to prioritize yourself and your well-being. Keep taking deep inhales and long, long exhales. Until next time.